Hi everyone, Anne here. Now this is footage of Christy Kerr, who is a past world number one. She's got 20 titles, 2 majors, and obviously a legend of the game. And this is footage of her taken by Dennise at the Australian Open a couple of years ago. Now, Dennise is doing a bit of a talk over here, but it's a bit quiet, so I'm just going to talk over the top of her, which won't be a first. But it's really interesting to watch the pros warming up before they go and play. This is obviously the range. This is the warm-up session before. Most pros allow about an hour to warm up before they play. So what that will look like usually, and it does vary from player to player, but it'll be about half an hour warming up on the range, starting with your short clubs, wedges, working your way up through maybe 4 or 5 shots with each club, up through ending up with your driver. You won't hit too many with your driver because you want to keep your tempo good, and sometimes with the driver you can start getting like you're trying to hit it a little bit too hard. I mean, that's not the same for everybody, but that's a potential with the really long clubs. And then often the pros will come back down again to their wedges to finish off, because that's obviously the scoring end of the scale, where they want the finesse and they want to get the ball close to the hole. And then they'll wander off and go and do a little bit of chipping and finish up with a bit of putting before they head to the tee. It's quite regimented. Most pros will have a very strict schedule. And they like to keep to it, sometimes almost to the minute, depending just on your personality, really. I think different personalities will do different things, and that will depend, how strict you are with all your routines. It's a bit like everything in life. But one of the main things I wanted to point out here was the fact that all of these girls are using an alignment stick. Every single player has had an alignment stick down the whole time that they are hitting. Now, some of them you can see clearly and some of them a little bit hard to see. But what they'll do is they'll start off and they'll lay their club down along the toe line, and then they'll come around behind. And, well, you can see Christy's got hers along her ball line, close to the ball there. So people do it differently, but it's essential that you have it there in some way, so that when you come around behind, you make sure it's lined up correctly. And then here's a play with one along the toe line. And then you'll make sure it's straight. So there's usually a line through the ball to the target, and then the line along the toe line is parallel to that. So it's like train tracks, 2 parallel lines. So in effect, your feet don't actually aim at the target, they aim slightly left of the target for the right-hander. And then so once you come around behind, make sure that's all lined up square. What happens when you stand over the ball is as you look up, you're practicing lining yourself up well each time. So your eye starts to see, what does it feel like for me to be lined up well? Because when we're on the side of the ball, which we are in golf, it's actually not that easy to line yourself up consistently well. So you can see here, the pros here, they'll just leave club down. So you can do the same thing when you go and do some practicing. Lay the club down before you start, make sure it's heading in the right direction, then just leave it there. And then your eye starts to see the correct line. So when you're on the course, it'll happen automatically and you'll be consistent, and you won't have any problem lining up correctly, which is so hugely important in this target-oriented game of ours.